116 Hotline. It's Sadie.
It's Valerie.
And this is Sutana. Welcome back to our podcast, 116 Hotline. We are a
trio
of
sisters.
And we like to talk about anything and everything. If this is not your first time here, hello. If this isn't your first time here, welcome back.
Welcome.
As you guys can see, we have a very, very, very special guest here today. Please introduce yourself and how do you know 116th Hotline?
My name is Pia Yang. I don't know. It's been so far. Man.
Years.
Way back.
Yeah, probably way before all the Moon Wave came into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the first one I met was Sadie whenever Sadie was a lot younger. When I used to do photography.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. I didn't know that. I gotta show y'all the photos. It was me and Lisa.
A long time ago, I thought, I was like, you know what, I want to be a photographer. Because I went to school
that you were in there, yeah.
And then I was like, this is not my
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's so funny.
Like years ago.
That's fun. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, welcome to 116 Hotline.
Yes.
Welcome.
We're very, very happy that you're here. Yes.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Little backstory. So, yes, Pia is literally like an older brother to us. Honestly, like just... We've talked about Naichu a lot in the other episodes. Naichu and Cow and Chow and them.
Yeah.
The original Oklahoma Hmong girls.
Yeah,
right?
literally, yes.
The original Oklahoma Hmong girls.
And I think we've even mentioned Pia before also in a couple of our episodes before.
Yeah, sure. So Pia is Naichu's brother. So the original, they're literally the original Hmong
people.
Literally, the original Hmong Okies.
When I think about original Hmong Oklahoma people, that's who I think about.
Yeah, it comes to mind. Yes.
Man, that's good and it's bad.
It's not bad.
The OGs.
The OGs. That's how you know. That's
the real ones, you know.
Seriously.
Because I feel like back then it was so small where like literally everybody knew everybody. And now it's like you go to Walmart, you're like, I've never seen these people ever before in my life.
Whenever I run into Hmong people now Walmart, I'm like, turn the other way. I do not make eye contact. It's just so weird.
It's weird thing.
Jenny made a post
see, my wife is like that. I'm not. I'm like, hey,
welcome.
I'm like my daughter. Hi, friend. And so I'm like, I don't know you. I'm like, hey, my name is this.
But then you introduce yourself.
Yeah. Introduce myself and then who do you know? Oh, another. Oh, do you know? Oh, you're that person. I'm like,
you make
the connections, yeah.
That's good though. I mean, that's good. We need more Hmong Okies like that.
Open-minded. I know. I feel like most of us are just siloed out, just because that's how we've always been. Everyone's in their own bubble, and it's just like, I don't want to talk to.
I think because that's how it had been. Because the Hmong population wasn't that much before, and now it's like there's a lot.
Yeah. So I see what I've seen in my past, and not just in the Hmong community, and it's everywhere else. Business-wise, it's the same thing. People become silos because they segregate themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you know what? Either I'm too good for you, or we just don't click. So, which is perfectly fine. That's normal. That's human nature. It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But you know what? It takes one to break out of the group. Go, hey guys.
It really does. And it was your sister that brought out of the group that made us like that. Yeah. So I can see you guys' a similarity.
I think we really, really look up to Naichu so bad because like so much that one day we were talking about that how she was so welcoming and inviting that we were inspired by that. That's why now
that's how we are now.
Because we really want to connect everybody together.
It definitely set the way that we communicate to others and also like be out of our shell and not so like conserved, I guess.
Yeah, so we have some little questions, kind of like it's gonna be kind of like an interview. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure, but all the pressure, all the pressure.
Spotlight. No.
So like, just whatever you're comfortable with answering and whatnot. And so here's some questions. So obviously you're a Hmong like us, okay? And are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
You are the oldest.
So like the oldest boy or just the oldest in like period, the oldest child?
My dad's side of the family would just been my dad and my uncle and them. I am the oldest. So I get to pioneer and get all the butt whooping.
That's like one thing that I will never understand because I'm not the oldest.
Yeah.
But like I hear it all the time from the eldest of like every family how like they're the ones that have to go through the trial and errors for the younger sibling.
Like our brothers.
But then again, as being the oldest, it's awesome to do that too because you're pioneering it, and at the same time you're learning lessons, and then you get to pass them to your your siblings, to your brothers and sisters, and it's awesome to watch them to manifest into something that you're like, ooh, if I had someone to guide me, I would have been like,
seriously.
That's like a bittersweet.
Literally, very, very bittersweet. Well, I mean, I was thinking about like in our culture, especially too, and just being an eldest in general, because I've heard and I've seen it everywhere. Actually, have you guys seen the movie? What is it called? Encanto, you know,
yes,
you see Encanto, right? I'm sure your daughter has watched it. Okay, so I love that movie. And there's that oldest sister, the really strong one, and then it's like a whole like thing about how being the oldest, you have to carry everybody in your back. That whole song, by the way,
music video,
song is fire. I freaking love it. It is like just a deeper meaning and symbolism behind that song and that scene in general. And I'm like, dang, like it really made me think. And you know, thinking to my older brother too, because I'm the second oldest, but my brother's song, he's the oldest one. So I think about this all the time. I'm like, dang, the oldest one, like they always have like they have a lot of like I guess pressure on their backs, like growing up, a lot of weight on their back, and just having to go through. And like you said, I don't know, like you said, having to pioneer and everything. So how did you grow up? Like how did you take that growing up?
At first I was very upset at myself because I'm like, you know what, I could do better. Nobody's gonna ever be harder than you yourself. That's the honest truth. Your parents think they're hard on you by whipping your butt and go, hey, you know what, you're a bad
do it
kid.
better.
Right. But realistically, deep down, like I tell my kids and my oldest, you know, you could lie to me all you want, but at the end of the day, you're lying to yourself deep down. So it's either you're gonna do well if you're honest with yourself, if you're not honest with yourself and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do that later when you know deep down you're not gonna do it.
That's a great point. I didn't think of it that way.
Did you ever feel like somewhat resentment about being the oldest?
Ooh, I like that question.
Good question.
Because like it is a lot that you have to go through.
When you're young, yes, but the older you become, the more you. This is something that we weren't taught as a culture. To learn to step back and look at a 360-degree view of I may be the oldest, but I'm not the wisest. I may be the oldest, but I could learn from my younger brother and sister's lesson. Or what am I doing that makes them resent me or hate me? That I could be a better person. It's a lot of self-reflecting that we were never taught. So we hate ourselves for that. But when you learn to take a step back, I learned this in one of my executive coaching. It was like, hey, you know, I had an executive coach for a year, and he beat this into me. He's like, you're awesome. You got to think yourself. You got to love yourself. You always got to go. Every time a session starts, right? His question was, Pia, what are you grateful for today?
Wow.
So it's like, I'm grateful for my wife, grateful for my kids, I'm grateful for this life, I'm grateful. So it teaches you to take a 360-degree view because you will never say that to yourself. Go, what are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for today, right? You're not. You're going to go. All cultures are just like, go.
Hustle. Absolutely.
So learning to step back and go, you know what? What do I see from a higher angle? Can I do better? Or is that the best I could do? If that is the best I could do, then I need to accept it and go, okay, mom, dad, myself, my loved ones, this is the best I could do.
Yeah.
I apologize. I can't do anymore. This is the best I could do. And then you got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Just learning to go, you know, it's okay. This is the best I could do. And it's okay.
So I do want to add on to that. Like, I think it's hard I can only speak from a place of observation, right? I think it's hard for a lot of men that are the oldest son and sons in general, especially in the Hmong culture, to what's it called? Admit that they can't do any better, or that, like you said, this is the best I can do and I'm sorry, but you know, how can I grow from that, or what can I do? I think that's very hard for a lot of men that I've observed in my life, that they cannot admit that because, like you said, it's always go. Like, how can I? Oh yeah, I can do that. But in reality, it's like I can't. Like, I can only do as much as I can, and I'm sorry.
You have to admit your burnout sometimes.
Yeah,
so
but
the reason why, from what I learned, is that Hmong men's their ego.
Thank you.
Their ego is something that they need to admit. It's like I had a big ego and I had to learn to dial that ego back and
work
go,
on.
okay, you know what, Pia? You may be smart, but this person's smarter than you.
A little bit smarter.
This person.
How did it feel when you did that though? Like, do you think did you feel like you belittled yourself when you had to come to that point,
that conclusion. Actually, no. It's actually a big eye opener. It's a lot of weight off your shoulder.
Ooh. Hey, Gary, see that? Listen to this. Come on, man.
Hey, you can live a lighter life if you just accept that.
You accept yourself, we're going to accept you regardless.
Yeah.
It's cool because you get to see someone that has been through it, right?
Yes.
So I think only someone who has been through it can speak to those who are going through it and that are looking for ways to better themselves or to get to that point, you know? It's hard. It's hard.
That's because as men growing up, our parents and the culture, right? It's set to be like, you got to be the best. You're the best. You got to be the best. You're the best.
That's very much.
You can't fail. If you fail, you're stupid or you're incompetent.
You're a waste of food and time and money.
Right? But realistically, as parents, we shouldn't be saying that to our kids.
Right.
We should step back. Well, I learned to step back and go, is that the best my kid can do?
Oh,
and I feel like too, like now as parents, because we're parents, like we see a lot of things that like we've gotten as kids that like we don't want to do that to our kids, you know, like that is like a big thing too. I feel like for me, whenever like Atticus is like struggling to like put his seatbelt on or something and he gets so mad and he like yells at himself, I always tell him like, stop, like take a step back and breathe and just see like what you can do. And then like every time we do that, like he gets it and then he's like, thank you, mommy, like thank you for telling me to take a breath and stop. And I just think back like when we were kids, like all we got was like, why did you do that? Like do it.
No, literally the incompetent thing, like it goes back to that, like it's just like the belittling, I guess, of your own children. And it's like, dang, it should not be like that.
It's a culture thing.
It is very much a culture thing. Yes,
it's not you got to think of back. So I had some time on a flight and I actually had to sit and listen to a book. And it taught me, it's a cultural, what you could do as a culture is change what's in front of you, not what's behind you. So it's not like, you know what? It made me really sit there and think on my 4-hour flight, right?
Yeah.
You're right. All my grandmas, great-grandma, grandpas, they were like that. So they passed that down generationally to our parents. And our parents, you got to understand, they live in the mountains. They're not educated, right? They don't have the time to go, hey, read this book. Read this book. Step back and read it. So the flaws. Work on your flaws. They didn't have that. So then what they learned is what we thought was right. It's like, beat my son because, or beat my daughter because they don't listen. But realistically, that's the best they can do.
That's all they know, though, too.
So I think it's a generational. And when I heard that in that book, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? As a parent, I could do better. And how could I change this culture for my daughter? Right? Because I'm a big I'm tradition. I'm tradition. I used to be very, very tradition, but I learned to go, you know what? Keep the good, get rid of the bad. Because that's how you manifest. That's how everything manifests, right? Evolution's the same way.
Yeah.
So you got to learn to go, you know what? Take the good, get rid of the bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little off subject, but like most people, they love alcohol.
Oh, bro.
Hey, we had an episode about this already.
Alcoholism.
Alcohol, like, it's so heavily involved, but then when you look into the history behind it, we're in the U.S. and even overseas, they're overdoing it. Realistically, it's supposed to be, hey, this shot, the word, realistically, that's for everybody to come stay there, not to get drunk.
But then they drink, right? For
they drink, everything they're not supposed to drink, though. They're supposed to just pass one drink for everybody. Go, hey, Monona, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Not do what we're doing now. We're like, oh yeah, guys, we're gonna drink.
Yeah. Do you think that, because we had an episode about our culture or Hmong people and alcohol, right? Now, I mean, I know you said that you're not wise, and you can admit to that, and I appreciate and respect you for that. But do you think that somewhere along the lines of the Hmong culture, like, do you think they kind of turn it and abuse the drinking, and why? Like, why do you think?
Flex.
Ego. I think it goes back to the ego thing. Like, I can drink more than you. Like, let's see who can drink more.
And see, I see this as respect, right? You go up to someone and go, hey, I'm going to give you a drink. And that person goes, I can't drink. I don't want to take that drink. And they go, that's disrespect. And they start beating on your ego. Realistically, respect goes both ways.
Yeah,
you should respect that person and go, you know what? If you don't drink, I thank you for telling me. And I thank you for being honest with me.
Yeah,
and then it should be the next one. Not go, you know what? Are you not a man? And that's when they say,
that That part.
That's when it comes in.
To me, I'm the worst person you do that to. I'm gonna go, you do that to me. You do that to me. I'm go. Yep, I'm a woman.
You're right.
Gets me out of the drink. Yep, I'm a woman.
Yep.
Oh my god.
See, people should do. Learn from that.
I'm gonna admit, I used to be like that with Sadie. I would force her to drink. I would be the one regulating. That used to be me.
But then that's because we're young, and that's the culture.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
You grow older and wiser, and you're like, you know what? Do we really have to drink this? And then you become wise. You're like, you know what? Thank you for telling me, and thank you for not letting me be a jackass to you.
Yeah,
tell me not. So keeping yourself in check and learning to respect others, and that's the easiest thing to do. But I'm like, I used to be like, hey man, you got to drink this. You don't drink this, man, or you don't drink this, man. You don't
respect me. You don't
respect me. This is my friend. And then the older I become, when people go, you don't love me, that's why you're going to drink this. I'm like, if you love me, you wouldn't force me because
flip
it goes both ways.
Then that taught me to go, you know what? My brother said that to me once, and I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm an asshole.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm an asshole, and I need to change. And learning that and learning to, like I said, the past behind you and the go forward. So going forward is what I told my wife this when I have my daughter and they get old enough and they get married. I'm not going to force my son to drink. I'm not going to force my son to not drink. Wow. I'm going to go, you know what, son? Today you and my daughter are wedded. I wish the best for you guys. Mm-hmm. And you, as a parent, my job is to support you guys. Make sure you get successful. Yeah. I don't want to get him so ass wasted that he ends up in the hospital.
Yeah. Or he can't even remember.
Exactly. That's a bad way of doing it. People are like, oh, you don't love your son. Actually, I do. That's why I'm not following the same thing you guys are trying to do. Yeah. And there's a fine line of okay, the smaller amount drink to finish the tradition.
Yeah. Yes.
100% keep that. But if you're gonna just the goal is to make sure he goes in the hospital, then do you really love the person? If not just that person, do you love the daughter that's getting married? If you do, you got to think about it. If you become an asshole like that, and your daughter loses their love of their life because of alcohol. I've seen it happen. Yeah. Are you that great of a person? And do you really love the person as much as you said you do? Yeah. So it's how I see it's like, okay, guys, change what's in front of you. You can't change what's behind you. So.
What do you think? What do you think? Because I think we are all on the same page with you in terms of stuff like that. In terms of we need to update our culture to be not more modernized, but to be more realistic. Yeah. What do you think would take us as a people to get there? And I don't know, I think it's a lot of work, and I don't think that we want it to change to be like that, but it's what does it take to get there?
I feel like it's almost like people, because we are so used to the traditional way,
creatures of
habits too, and I feel like people might view it as even a taboo type thing, we're like, oh well, again, it comes to the disrespecting. Why are you disrespecting the traditional way? Why are you going to a new way?
Use that as...
But then, I guess that's a good question. How can we, as a group, to show our, our people that this is the healthy way of doing things? We can still keep the tradition going. We can still do our beliefs and culture and all that. But then how can we go about it in a more healthier way?
How I see it, it starts from leaders, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
I think it starts from leader. I learned this a long time ago, and I learned this through some of the leadership programs I went through. A good example, when we eat, right? When we go to parties and eat, it's always like, hey, you know what? Leaders eat first, and we're going to go up and talk for 2-3 hours and let everybody start. Right. That's not how real leaders lead. Real leaders leave. If you ever worked at a place, any place you work at, right? You go there, your boss doesn't eat first. Your boss is the one that's serving you lunch. And I'm grateful to serve you lunch because you are here. That's why I have a job. That's why we all have a job. We need to learn to look at it from instead of we have to patana. I eat first. My friends eat first. My friends from out of state eat first. Yeah. No, treat everybody the same. What about all the people that prep the food? What about all the people that got up at 5 a.m. to kill the cow to prep all this food? You got to be thankful for them. These people came out of state. Grateful. I'm grateful they came out of state. But at the same time, understand and be grateful for everybody, not just specific people. When one thing that irks me the most is VIP tables.
Oh God,
yes, VIP tables.
Is everybody not important that came? Yeah, they take their time to come. Yeah. So I'm a big treat everybody fair, and starting to answer you guys' question is it starts from the top. As a leader, if I go, you know what, guys, this is the amount we're going to drink, and regulating. We're not drinking any more than this. Any more than this, we're idiots.
set the standards.
So, yeah, exactly. You set that standard and you start enforcing it. And then once you leave, it becomes a culture and it becomes a habit. Yep. And then it's going to be repeated. That's how things change.
Yeah.
But
like you said, evolution. Yeah.
If you don't do that, every leader's right. This is bad, but I'm probably going to get knocked with this. But every Hmong leader, they're all the same.
That's another question I was going to ask you. I agree. I was going to ask, who do you think in the Hmong community is that a lot of people look up to as like leaders or like significant in the Hmong community? Like
right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have a hard time respecting a lot of them.
Okay.
It's not because the way they are. It's the fact that you go, hey, I'm a Hmong leader and I can't even realistically lead things in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it's always about flaunt. It's about face.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I got money and flex.
Yes.
Real leaders don't rely on that.
They don't.
Real leaders, they rely on their soul skills to lead people.
Yes. They put their boots on the ground. They do the dirty work. Like I think that's something as me trying to be part of that movement for change. It's very frustrating because it's like, why aren't people doing the work? Like we're all here, we're going to parties, we're drinking, we're doing all this. It's like, if you really want to see the change in the people, put your boots down on the ground and do the work. Like I'm tired of seeing these parties that don't apply to anything. Like it's so frustrating. And it's like, man, I want to, like you said, see leaders that make that change. It starts with them. And it's like, when are we going to get there? And if we're not going to get there, I guess I'm going to try to do it.
But see, the reason why it's like that is because you got to understand a lot of these leaders that are been voted into those positions is because of their friends voted for them. And their friends have they realistically have leadership skills, gone through real leadership training, right? Probably not. Very few of them don't. And I'm going to say 99% of them don't. That's why they lead off how they lead their own internal family. So I'm going to tell my kid, brother, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sit here, and my sister go, you do that. That's how they lead.
Yes.
How real leaders are. You know what, guys? This is action plan. This is the scope, and this is how we're going to do. My job, your job, accountability, dates. Let's do this. They don't do that. They just go, you know what? Hey, Sadie, you're in charge of the food.
No, dude.
That's how it is.
Hey, Val, you're in charge of the drink. You better make sure all the drinks are done.
Yeah.
And then when it's not done, instead of going, crap, Val can't keep up with the drink. Oh, shit, my job is to help her as the leader. Oh, shit, Sadie can't get done. All right, guys, I'm going to roll up my sleeve, take off my damn jacket and my suit. I'm going to
do the work. They're not
going to. They're going to just sit there and get pissed and go, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? You know, I save face because now we look like idiots in front of our guests. But realistically, let's not do that. Let's go, guys. They need help. What can we do? What do you need me? Where do you need me? That's how real leaders lead. Not go, hey, the food's not done. Why isn't it done? You're stupid for not getting this done. Why isn't there enough drink on the table? Don't do that. That's not how you lead. That's not how you change. That's not how you make people want to follow you. That's
or even respect you.
Yeah.
Trust me, like I tell people, you know, I'm thankful for the kids for coming. A lot of them, they make speeches. They're just like, think this PT stands for baton. Think this person, think this person, think this person, think this person. But realistically, they didn't even come help you guys could.
They're just a big name. They're just there to person.
The front.
It's the front. It's front and flex. The guy's like, oh yeah, here's $100 to bless you with the hand time. But you gotta think about it. It's not about the money. It's about the people that came to help you.
Put in the hard work.
It's the people that got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, stayed with you guys until midnight to cook. Those are the people you should be thankful for. Those should be the people you've been thinking the kids to come run around and keep the place lively, to bring life to the place. But if you're just thinking the individual, then why should everybody else come to your? Why should everybody else even come attend your party when you're not thankful for everybody?
Because very few, I can't really remember a whole lot of time where people even saying, okay, let's say thanks to like the wives, that woke up so early to cook, saying thanks to the younger sons that went to go kill pigs and cow early in the morning. So man, now that you really brought it from that perspective, it's like, that's kind of messed up, honestly. That's messed up. Like,
matter of fact, why don't you guys only show up and everybody else will not show up? If that's the point.
My dream is maybe one day we can get to that point where we get real leaders. But then again, it's like, okay, guys, change is only going to happen if we give opportunities to those who can fit the bill. But it's like, well, how do we get there as a
maybe
people?
Start a campaign? I don't know.
Well, you got to look at the people, right? Not just because he's my friend, he's my relative, I'm voting for him.
Yes.
Do they really meet the bill? right? It's just like when you go apply for a VP position, any job, they're gonna go, you used to be you used to what? You used to fill up the water bottle, and now you want to be the VP?
Yeah.
That's great. I want to give you the opportunity, but let's build you up to be there.
Yes.
Not just go, here, you used to fill up the bottle, here, you're going to be VP of a Fortune 500 company now.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So that's why I think we as a culture, the younger culture, we need to really evaluate the leaders and go, okay, this leader may be my best friend, but is he going to fill the bill? Is he going to fill that void that we need to have?
Yeah.
Like, I see this biggest gap between, in the Hmong culture, not just Hmong culture, every other culture, is bridging the young and the old.
Absolutely. I agree.
Bridging young, yes, that part.
You can't bridge that gap if you're not leading correctly. And if you're not thinking everybody, you're just thinking your buddies.
no one's going to go along with it.
Right,
yeah.
right.
That's literally a reoccurring theme. Yeah,
it has been for a while. I would say that nowadays the Hmong community, we have been a lot more aware now, because I'm seeing a lot of these conversations now. And that could be considered controversial, but these conversations, it needs to be had. And the fact that we're talking about it right now, hopefully this goes viral, like the this is one that it should be a hot topic. It should be viral, because we're talking about real life situations for our community, how we can make it better, right?
Yeah,
I think this is a good way to ask during a campaign, right? So this is one of the questions that should be asked during the campaign is, what makes you fit the bill? That a lot of how it's asked, instead of going, what makes you fit the bill? A lot of how it's asked is like, what can you do for the community? And then a lot of them is like, oh, my pocket's deep.
Right. Yeah.
That's like the number one.
Right. But just because your pocket's deep and you lead like an idiot you should not be in that seat.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely. Okay. And then another thing I was asking, I know we talked about how generational trauma is very, very well known in a lot of cultures, actually, and obviously in our culture too, in the Hmong community. If you could do one thing differently for our older generation, so for our example, our parents, grandparents, what would that be? And that can obviously tie in with the whole generational trauma thing too.
Realistically, just teach them what to not do, because they know what to do. It's a lot of unknown and a lot of I don't know, and I just did it.
Yeah.
So it's more so of I wouldn't necessarily say educate, but because a lot of them, I see a lot of it's more of mentality.
Yes.
And learning to kind of dial that back and step back. So I guess to answer that question is self-reflect.
That's a good one.
I really like that you mentioned earlier that literally our older generation, they didn't have resources, right? They didn't have they didn't have the time to just sit down and learn these things. Why is this wrong? If I treat my child this way, why is this wrong? Like you said, I really never thought of it the resource, because in another episode we talked about generational trauma too, and about how literally our older generation, it was just the way how they lived back then. It was just survival to the fittest. Yeah. They were just trying to survive.
No, that's what it is.
They didn't have the time.
Their generation is survive. Our generation is navigating, right?
Yes.
And our kids is reaping the rewards of us, and the generation after that's going to be
we'll see.
So
it's okay, so then how you as a parent now do, like you said, I know you mentioned earlier that you would like to be a little bit more traditional too, but a little bit more lenient now too. How is that going for you, and is it hard to kind of unlearn those traditional things that you've grew up?
Yes and no. Yes, it is, but no, as long as you learn to let your ego go.
And that's a hard one for and not just even for men, but that's a hard one for everybody. Yeah. I think that's a hard one,
because I think you're so accustomed to the way that you grew up, and then when I think for me, in my personal experience, when I'm teaching my children, I have to be very conscious, and then sometimes I already repeated it without even realizing it, and it's oh crap, now I have to go and apologize and then learn from that, so the next time I'm not making that same mistake, because you don't want to repeat it. The cultural toxicity onto your children.
Yes,
it's hard as a parent.
That's a parent.
That is. It's trial and error. You're really just learning as you go too.
Yeah.
Because it's everybody's first time being a parent. So
there's no real guidebook. There's no real blueprint of how to be a parent. Every kid's different. It's just oh yeah, my first one Liz is, my second one was what, Dad?
Yeah, that's true.
You can tell, hey, put this pencil right here. What pencil? The one that's in there? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so, that's true. I saw this thing on TikTok, I think, where it's saying that not every children has different parents. Like it's the same parent.
Yes,
but it's different for each children.
Yep.
You know, because like Levi, he gets it different because he's the oldest child, and then Ati, he'll get a different version of me because I've been a parent already to Levi. You know,
so true. I never thought of it that way.
I agree.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
And just the whole like, you know, letting your ego go and like just, you know, I think it's hard to do, but it's also a very brave thing. I feel like it's very brave and you know, a very what's the word? Courageous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
is.
At the same time.
Because you have to allow yourself to put yourself in that vulnerable position.
Yes.
That, hey, I'm not like good enough, but I can admit to it.
Admit to your wrongs. Like, be able to admit. That takes a lot. But honestly,
then that's how you grow, though.
Yes.
That's when people grow the most is when they're vulnerable.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're uncomfortable out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, that's what I tell my daughter. When you become very uncomfortable, you become very vulnerable. That's when I promise you, you're going to grow.
How old is she? The oldest?
She's 11.
Oh my God. She's 11, bro.
I just remember when she was like little and like she always posts pictures.
I remember being 11, so that's crazy.
Oh my God, dude.
I can't believe she's that older.
I can't believe you have an 11-year-old.
That's when we first moved here, when I was 11, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was 11 or
Literally.
12. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We're old.
Oh my gosh.
Wait till you guys get my age.
What is one thing that you would wish for your girls to remember you as whenever they get older? I know some of these questions we asked Danny too, but I also want to ask, you know,
That's a very good question. To dial it down to 3 of them, that's going to be super hard, right? One, at least my dad was there for me, and 2, my dad showed me that, hey, it's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
And then to love myself.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I feel like especially for girls too, it's very hard to know that, like, to love yourself,
to
you
love
know
yourself.
And you don't want them seeking love in the wrong places. You don't want them growing up with daddy issues.
No, seriously.
Hey, you know, it's true because my daughter's she's 11 and she comes and explains to me. I'm like, that's daddy issue, but I'm not going to But that's one thing as a dad, seeing that and, you know, review and just reflecting, you know, teaching my daughter to love herself, just like how I'm teaching my wife to love herself. It's okay. It's okay if you don't have to cook for daddy. Daddy's a big boy. He'll cook himself.
Thank you.
Dude,
Thank you.
Period on that part.
Yes. Heavy on that.
Danny is just like that. And, you know, I think from, like, traditionally, they're like, oh, she's so lazy. She should be cooking him 3 meals a day. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, be realistic. Like, we're in like this century. Okay. Men and women, we both work. We do the same things. It's like, you know, that mindset is like, we need more of that because it's like, it's an equal balance, baby. You're pulling 50, I'm pulling 50. Like, you know, we're trying our best.
When me and my brother, we all hang out, right? My immediate family and friends, all the guys cook. The girls don't cook.
Really? Yeah. Okay, shout out Roy. Joey, love y'all.
So my sister does miss her cooking. She's like, I miss the way you guys cook. So I think it's awesome to learn how to cook as a guy.
Yeah.
Because I could cook multiple dishes. I could cook. I'm really good at crawfish. And
that's a good one.
Those are my 2. Like, oh yeah, daddy cooked that all day long. Everything else, that's
It's okay. Just let's get the crawfish.
Those are like, let us simmer down. But it comes to a grill, like chicken, steak, crawfishes, any of the seafood, I could do it all day long. But if you give me other things, I'm gonna go, let me YouTube this real quick.
I know. Oh, well, you guys only have 2 sisters, right? So Naichu and
the older one,
Mycia. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
Dude, I literally love your entire family.
I know.
Like moving to Oklahoma, just seeing your family, like growing up together now too. Like I'm just like, man, yeah, I look up to y'all's family and your siblings. I really
The first person I was a fan of was Roy Yang 89.
Because of Asian
She was literally a fan. This
She
was
was a
before
fan.
we even knew your family, before we moved to Oklahoma. We lived in Wisconsin, and I was like, oh my gosh, that guy is so cool. I want to learn how to code like him. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dang, he's famous.
And then we moved here.
Yeah.
And then it turns out we knew Naichu.
It's a full circle, really.
You know, I give you props for being like, you know, I wish we had more time to talk, but it's like, you know, I appreciate your like viewpoint
Insight.
of the world and
Yes.
insight. Like, I feel like we need more people like you, and you know, like we said in the beginning, like we really look up to you. I feel like you're, you know, like we love your whole family, but it's like just not the progressiveness, but I guess like the mindset you have and the outlook on the world, and trying to bridge the two between the traditional, cultural, and what we are now is just, we need more of that. And
it is very powerful. I mean, I'm not even talking about like in a feminism way or whatever, but it's very powerful coming from a Hmong man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So like, if putting this out there for them to hear that, you know, it's doable from a Hmong man.
Absolutely.
It's doable, you know, just to execute it and really change that mindset. It's very powerful. So we really appreciate and respect you for, you know, just being yourself and opening up.
Thanks.
If you could have anything to say to all the young men, young Hmong men out there watching, what would you say? Just like no context. Just saying, like, if someone, and like, if a Hmong younger guy advice. Just came up to you and be like, what can I learn from you, Pia? Like, what can you tell me? Like, what would you say to them?
So,
because I know you have a lot of nephews, younger nephews and stuff. like that.
Keeping your ego in check, it's gonna not just outweigh your life, but it's gonna benefit you, your future you, and you're gonna make less mistake.
Ooh, yes, I love that.
A lot of it boils down to
less mistakes.
A lot of it boils down to the ego.
The ego,
like.
It doesn't matter, guy or girl.
Yeah,
you learn
that's
to
true.
You learn to keep your ego in check, and you learn to go, you know what? It's okay to be wrong, or you know what? That was very stupid of me. I should have never done that. But keeping your ego in check is going to benefit you in your whole life. It's not just in business. It's your life. It's in general. Your marriage will be happier. You yourself will be happier. Your people around you will be happier because they genuinely understand and see that you can keep your ego. It's just like if you're around somebody has a really jackass ego, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be around though.
Yeah.
You're like, next time let's not hang out with them.
Literally.
But if you're with someone that's very genuine, and they do have their ego in check, and they learn to understand their flaws. Yeah. Learning to understand your flaws and your egos, those go hand in hand. Those are 100% benefiting you no matter where you go in life. Spouse, being in a marriage, or just in a relationship, business, and life, and everything else. It'll benefit you a lot more.
I like that. Was so good. That's the truth.
That was just going to tie into what my next thing, moving on to a different subject, but kind of related, is what is the secret, or not secret, what is kind of the secret between you and your wife's marriage? Like, you guys have been together for so long now. What is like the number one thing that you could say, like, marriage advice?
That's a good one.
At first it was rocky because, like I said, my ego is.
And hey, self-awareness.
I love that you can admit to that.
You can admit to it.
Learning to go, you know what? My wife doesn't. That's my love. She's my spouse.
I love you.
I don't have to. She doesn't have to do everything for me. She's not obligated to. I'm a big boy. I could do crap myself. And you know, forgive and forget is the biggest thing that can help you in a marriage. And learning to go, you know what? Maybe traditionally that's what you guys want, but that's not what I want, and that's not. It's not going to benefit my wife or me. So take a finger, you know.
Yeah. Like it may have worked for you guys, but it's not going to work for us.
Every relationship is different, so it's one of those where find out what works for you and go with it. Don't take someone's blueprint and try to blueprint yours. Right. It's not going to work. Because it might work for them, might not work for you, right? It's just like I've seen a lot of people, their marriages are rocky because they're trying to be like their friends. Where I could go out all the time, my wife stays home and watch the kids. Well, have you ever really stayed home and watched how miserable your spouse is?
No, for real.
Or have you watched those damn kids? They're crazy.
Well, I think like another viewpoint is also going to like the friends or trying to be like the friends. I think also like family, right? Because not all families are like the best families ever. And so I think also like listening to the outside perspective of your family members, like how they want you to be and your marriage to be, is also a big thing.
That should never be. You should, like I tell me and my wife, we say, right? The people that don't pay my bills should not. There you go.
No, for real.
So if you don't pay my bills, you don't support me in any way.
You don't have a say in this.
What I do with my wife and how me and my wife are has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I love that.
It's simple.
It's literally simple as that.
It is. It's very simple, but not a lot of people follow by it. A lot of people let other people outside their marriage, outside their circle, judge them, and then it becomes friction between them and their spouse, and then it becomes into a big fight, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of them. They go, you know what? This is what me and my wife wants, not what you want. It may be what you want for us is not what we want. So go eat dirt.
Honestly.
I love that.
Do you think that, because you're a girl dad, do you think that being a girl dad has softened you up in a way? That's a good question. You have the 2 brothers growing up, 3 brothers growing up. Like you guys are a big family, so I'm just wondering how.
No, definitely, it's softened me up. I used to not just my feelings. Like I'm grateful for having daughters because it's taught me to reflect more on my feelings and reflect more of my my spouse's feeling, my kids' feeling. So I'm not gonna lie. If I had sons, I'd be like, "That's stupid." It's taught me to go, you know what? It's okay to not be okay. It's okay if you can't do it that day. If you're just not feeling like it today, it's okay. There's tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. You got to look forward to it. So it's taught me to be a lot more patient. I used to not be very patient at all. So my wife and me, we swap places. She's less patient. I'm more patient.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Like I could tell she could tell when I'm getting irritated, and she might tell me to change a little bit. But I'm still the same. My kids can't tell. My was like, stop. You don't know your dad.
He's about to blow.
But the thing about it, I used to have a really short fuse, and now it's just like keep pushing. I was like, all right, guys, you guys are annoying. Go away. So yeah, definitely being a girl dad's awesome.
Oh, I love that.
It's something that it's taught me in life to be more appreciative of what I have. Taught me to be more in touch with my emotions and to be vulnerable, to let my daughter see how I am. So they see for their boyfriend, right?
Yes.
So I want to set that example to where my daughter goes, you know what, my daddy bought me all this stuff, my boyfriend can't buy it. Yeah, they're right.
No,
I'm just kidding.
But setting good example, like
definitely.
Yes.
You want a man that's stable, level-headed, and because as girls, you're always gonna go, hey, you know what, my dad treated me this way. You treat me really crappy. Why am I going to be with you?
Yeah, that's where the daddy issues come in. You're literally preventing me in the daddy issues because I'm like same.
I'm like growing up, we didn't get that. Like like our dad never showed us that. So it's like then you look for love in the wrong places, and then it's just like a negative cycle.
Yeah.
So,
seriously.
Oh my God! You're like,
why are you getting emotional?
No, because it's like it's real.
It is so real.
Like I applaud you for doing that because
we're seeing it in real time.
It's like a positive thing that your daughters are gonna, your
daughter. I know I'm going to cry too, but I think your daughters in the future, they're going to appreciate you so much, and you're setting them up for success.
Yeah, you're setting the bar high, as it should be.
Yes, as it should be.
That's your job as the dad.
Yes.
That's your job as a dad, to set that bar high. If you want my daughter, dude, this is my bar. If you can't beat that bar, at the end of the day, you're gonna go. If you beat your daughter's ego down, you beat your daughter, telling her she's stupid. As a kid, they're gonna think they're stupid.
Yes.
That's what you set them and go. But you got to keep their ego in check too. Yes. So if they're getting a little bit too full of themselves, like my daughter, right? She's like, Dad, I'm getting tall. I was like, no, you're not. Wait, she's not, but she's almost as tall as me. Like, you're so short.
Yeah.
But I have to remind her, hey, you got to be humble. You have to be, and it's one of those where me as a dad, I'm going to set my daughter to go, you know what? This guy treats me like trash. I should never, or if I'm talking to him and he's saying all these stuff to me, why would I talk to someone like this? That can't put me in respect when he talks to me.
Yeah.
If he can't do that, then why am I going to be with him? So setting that standard and just building my daughter up to go, you know what? Okay, your standards got to be a little bit higher, but at the same time, humble.
Yes, that's the perfect balance. That's the perfect balance.
Because I believe in that, because that's going to be the best for you. If your standards too high and you're not humble, then you're a jackass.
That's true. That's true. So like finding a good balance, I think, and just in general too, like growing up, like me, obviously in the Hmong community. So going back to the Hmong community here, dads are not as
in tune with their emotions,
or it's sentimental, right? Because I growing up, my dad, and I'm the only daughter too, but I never really saw a whole lot of just affection, and I didn't really think anything of it. So that's why as an adult, it really does go through you, because then as an adult, I'm like, wait, what am I supposed, like, what are my expectations, in a man? But
you ask your self-worth.
Yes. So the fact that you're doing that right now and breaking the generational trauma is like so crucial.
Because the reason why I got emotional, because I'm like, you're describing the way you're parenting as a father, and then I'm like thinking back on our childhood. I'm like, we got our ass beat.
So it's like, and not only that, but like we saw a lot of things that like
shouldn't have.
What is that called? What is that that word? Infidelity.
Yeah.
Like we saw a lot of infidelity, and so like that was the norm for us.
Right. So it's just like it's cool to see that you're creating, like Sadie said, setting up your kids for success.
Yeah, you're putting them on the right path.
Like future.
And you know, we don't as parents, and I think also as individuals who are trying to grow and change the generational traumas, like we never get applauded for doing the right thing.
I know.
So just want to give you your flowers, because it's like, you know, you're doing the work, and that's awesome to see. And
it's not just me; it's my wife too. So it's not just me; it's a team effort. So
it's a team effort.
When someone says it's just you, I'm like, my wife put me in check a lot of times.
You're like,
she's like, how come he's getting all the credit? Don't worry, we got you, girl.
it's a partnership.
He's like, I gotta put her name in there. She's gonna watch this and be like, you didn't say anything about me.
Yes, you should, bro.
Realistically, in a marriage and kids, it's a two effort. It takes two person. It takes two person to make them, and it takes two person to raise them correctly.
That's right.
It's emotion, right? There's emotion that I'm not very good with.
Yeah.
And I have to go talk to your mom because my daughter's going through a little teeny phase, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, go talk to your mom. I don't know.
But see, I love that being able to rely on your partner too, because it's a partnership.
Yeah.
So you guys support each other.
It should always be, because you should be their strength, and you guys should be able to balance each other out, right?
Yeah.
Where they have strength, you don't, and where you have strength, they don't. That's where that's when you found the right partner.
Yes.
Right? It's because you guys know how to let things go, and you guys balance each other out.
Yes.
And you guys correct each other. So
I love that. Yeah. I love that.
My ears, I love that.
So, Pia, we do this segment on our podcast with our guests where it's like a quick question round. So it's just going to be like random, funny little questions, and then you just answer whatever comes off the top of your mind. Okay?
Okay. Ready? That goes.
Set, go.
Summer or winter?
Summer. Oh, no. Winter. I hate it when it's
You hate it when it's hot. Okay.
Okay, Japan or Korea?
Ooh, Japan.
Ooh.
Anime.
Drifter.
Tokyo Drift. Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Favorite Hmong food?
Ooh, my wife loves this because it's easy to cook. So it's boiled chicken.
Ooh.
That's the classic.
Boiled
That's
chicken.
the classic.
Okay, Wisconsin or Cali?
Oh.
Neither.
I was really convinced that you were going to say Cali. Jet Li or Jackie Chan?
I'm going to say...
Don't disappoint me. I was kidding.
Oh, that's a hard one. I know. It's a hard one.
If you say one, you're going to get
I'm going to say I'm going to say Jet Li.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I say more iconic. Yeah. Say your favorite car. I know you're a car
Lamborghini.
Guy. Oh.
Really?
Americano.
I thought he was going to say
I literally don't know cars. I was going to say Supra. I don't know. Only car I know, like,
Lamborghini, huh?
That's my goal in life.
Really? To get a Lamborghini?
Do you like egg rolls or pho? Oh.
Egg rolls all day.
Kapong or pho?
Fuck.
Okay.
Okay, what's your go-to boba order?
Boba. I don't like boba. I don't like boba.
Really?
Yeah, I don't drink it.
Also not the biggest fan of boba.
Really?
I swear, yeah.
Yeah, my wife and my daughter, and they'll get boba.
Are they?
I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
they do?
my daughter
Okay.
loves boba. Daddy, you want boba? No.
Okay, well, how about soda then? Do you drink soda?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so are you like more of like a Coke or a Sprite?
Sprite.
Ooh. Okay, talking about Sprite. What's your McDonald's order?
Ooh, yeah.
So I don't like McDonald's.
Honestly, I haven't been to McDonald's too.
I get sick every time I eat it. And,
Really?
Yeah, it makes me vomit. So I'm like, McDonald's not my forte.
gosh.
Okay, so
I
then
never knew that.
go to a fast food place.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Hmong food.
Okay, what about this? Yangs or
Wait, you have to ask that again because you're laughing. Okay.
Yangs or L's?
Depending on the dish.
I agree. Okay, for Kapong, I would have to say, I don't know.
For real?
I'm gonna say L's.
I would say
I'll say
L's.
L's.
But
Kapong, I would say Yangs. Steam rolls, L's.
Yep.
They got really good steam rolls.
We're getting a little controversial. Disclaimer, it's just for the podcast.
All right.
Well, Pia, thank you so much for being on our episode today and taking, your time out of your day to come and talk with us and just to open up. And I truly, truly appreciate your values and just sharing it with the public. And like I said, run it up, share.
I agree.
This is a really, really important
conversation
that needs to be heard throughout, not just the Hmong community, but any culture in general.
I do want to mention that, Pia, you do hold a very good spot in my heart, because I remember when I freshly got divorced with Lolly, you offered to fix my car because someone was trying to steal my Cadillac converter. And you offered to weld it for me, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, but like I think at that moment nobody knew that me and Lolly were going through a divorce, but I think you guys already knew. And I remember I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but I remember like you saying to me like to stay strong, and that like I'm still young, and like I have to like keep going for my 2 kids. And like I don't know if that meant a lot for you at that time, but like for me it meant a lot, because nobody knew that me and Lolly were splitting up. Nobody knew that me and Lolly were splitting up, and like a lot of bad shit was just happening to me. Like my tires got like a hole in it, and then someone tried stealing my Cadillac converter, and like I was just going through a lot, and like you offered your time to do that for me, and it meant a lot because I was like in the trenches. And like so I tell the girls all the time that like you do hold the spot in my heart, because like you did that for me, and like just you saying those words to me meant a lot, because like it's like I know that you knew, but like you like, but then like it's like I knew that you knew I was going through that, but you didn't want to say anything. And so like it meant a lot to me, and I just want to say thank you, and like you do mean a lot to me, and that little gesture like will carry on with me forever.
I'm glad that, because like I said, through life it's one of those where I want to leave an impression on people, and I want them to pass that impression on to somebody else. So if you see someone struggling, reach out, even if it's just words. Right. So you're not the first person that said that to me before. Someone else that was in a Hmong leadership role, she said that, and she's like, I was gonna quit. And when you sent me a message, hey, keep going on, I'm proud of you. Yes, everybody's saying you can't do it, but I believe in you. And she did it. And she it reminds me every time. It's like, you don't have to remind me. I want you to.
Because I think you're very you make such a good impression, and like I feel like you do leave a good print, and that's like it's a core memory now for me.
That's all I could do, and that's what I hope to do throughout life, is like leave an impression on people to where they could go, you know what, someone did this for me, I should do the same thing to someone. So being able to pass that on to the next person, it's the best thing you can do in life. Like, to me, it's just like I tell people, what's a big flex? All these guys that work under me that are now leaders, they're all like VPs and CEOs. I'm like, I did that. That's a big flex on me.
That is a flex. That's a flex.
So that's why I tell people, I was like, I don't care about the money. I don't care about this. I just care about these guys. I taught them, and they're successful in life. And that's something that I'm proud to flex about. It's because I watched someone become successful, and I helped them become successful. That's a big flex.
Dang, I feel like that's the biggest reward, bro.
It's a very rewarding. I can really relate to that, just being from like a teacher's point of view. That's kind of like the same thing when you watch them grow, and that you were a part of that, their growth. So, but yes, like I agree, Valerie, you said like you're just such a huge role model to us, and like we view you like as literally like an older brother, and we appreciate that. And like I said, I hope this message gets to other people out there too, and they can go on from that.
As always, we upload a new episode every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you follow us at 116th Hotline right here, and you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and don't forget to rate our podcast if you have a little extra time.
Let us know what you think about this episode and our conversation.
And of course, one more time, thank you again.
Thank you so much for coming.
We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys in our next episode.
Bye.